Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Hello and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Enterprise Friday on Enterprise TV. The federal government announced on Thursday that it had completed the mechanical phase and flare start of the Port Harcourt Refinery Company Limited. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Heineken Lokbobiri made the disclosure in the nation's oil capital, Port Harcourt, during a media tour of the refinery, which rehabilitation had commenced in 2021. On the tour with the minister were Ekperikpo, his counterpart as Minister of State for Gas, NNPC Board Chairman Pius Akinyulure, NNPC Group Chief Executive Officer Mele Kiari, as well as other dignitaries. Managing Director of the refinery, that is the Port Harcourt Refinery, Ibrahim Onoja, was also on the tour. The minister thanked Nigerians for their patience and trust in the NNPC to deliver on its promise and the mandate of the refinery's rehabilitation. Now, my guests this morning, I have Emeka Madonagu, who stays back with me for this conversation, for this segment, as well as Mr. Elvis Elemihele, who has joined us to also kindly help us with insights into what is really happening in the oil sector at this time. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Yes, well, for the sake of the viewer, Mr. Elemihele is also a journalist, a seasoned commentator at DSM and Public Affairs. Gentlemen, this is no longer news, as it were. The Port Harcourt Refinery had been in the, shall I say, in the works or in the news for a long time. People had said, when. Apparently, that one has become a now. How optimistic are you about the fact that they've called it a mechanical completion and a flare start? Let me begin with you, Mr. Elemihele.
Well, I want to thank this government at least for even completing the job that we have been hearing over the years, that it's going on through rehabilitation for successive government. Now that we have even been told now that it's going through mechanical flaring and hoping that they said after Christmas holiday it will commence production fully. So we are believing now that the situation that we have had over the years, importing fuel, as an oil producing nation, is going to be, that importation will drop to some extent, because they said it's going to be producing about 60,000.
Yeah, but let me just quickly jump in. Well, I mean, this is something in the public space, so it can be probed. Mr. Madonagu, the idea of we've completed the mechanical phase and flare start, now we're going to go on Christmas break and come back. I mean, I thought this was a national emergency. People are suffering. There's no Christmas break from suffering.
No, well, but it depends on the terms of.
I would like to think specifically.
The contract.
The police, medical doctors, journalists, and those working in the oil and gas sector. These are essential services. I mean.
Yeah. Yes, but
so if for many years we've been waiting, and now you've completed the phase.
They've been working. The engineers have been working, and maybe based on the terms of their contract, they were supposed to. They are supposed to go on Christmas break. It doesn't do anything because in engineering you don't rush through processes, or else you will wreck everything. So now there are 3 phases. They have done the first one, which is the mechanical completion and the first flares. Then the next one, they are going to do the commissioning, run the processes, run everything, test all the process, the distillation and all of that, fluid catalytic converter and all of that, test everything. Then finally, the commercial production. So we need to give them a little time because they have to get things right. I think the refinery has suffered some fire incidents in the past. So they need to get around all of those things, one. Then secondly, don't forget these refineries were built a long time ago. So the technology, the adaptability of the technology that was used to set them up at that time to today's technology will not be in the same bracket. So all they will have had to do will be to upgrade that technology. So, for instance, you can compare it with Dangote Refinery, which was set up with today's technology. Then, be that as it may, you can also see that they have tried to see how they can expand, marginally expand the production capacity of the refinery from 60,000 liters, trying to stretch it and stretch it. All of these things have to do with the technical limitations of the refinery.
If I may just butt in here, you know, in sometime in June or July, May or June, before President Barry left office, you know, he had to go to Dangote Refinery to inaugurate it.
Yes.
And we were told that by July it was going to begin to commence production. But then the NNPC put a caveat. I wonder why it was the NNPC that had to tell Nigerians the fact that Dangote's production in fact, I think they spoke with some sort of conclusion that it wasn't going to lead to a reduction in the pump price of petrol in the country. But yesterday in Port Harcourt, really that should be Okreka, unless I let me, because that's where the refinery actually is. Not in Port Harcourt actually, but I mean for the sake of it. What they said was that this refinery would help to reduce the domestic pump price of petrol in the country. Now, I'm not in the oil and gas sector, so and I can't claim to know as much as they, as experts, do know. But when they say reduction in price, what exactly should we be expecting?
Well, first of all, we have been consuming imported fuel for all this while. Now that we are going to have the opportunity of producing locally, the cost of importation is going to be out of that. And I know that everything that has to do with oil and gas is predicated in dollars, but the insurance, shipment, and all those ones are going to be off. So if all those ones are off from the imported fuel, and now we have local production, I think the price may drop.
I beg to quickly. So this is production for domestic consumption. We are not even talking about exporting it yet.
Domestic. It's also the domestic price they're talking about that is going to drop. So what we are interested in, CY, is that we can get into the petrol stations to fill our tanks and see that where we were buying like 620, 630, even if it comes to 600, we get satisfied easily in Nigeria. So, it's because the government will tell us, because Port Harcourt Refinery has commenced production, that's why the fuel price has gone down. Sometimes we get to filling station that we're selling about 600, 630 before, they're selling it at 590. We will still comment that they comment the process that has just begun. But I know too well, for the exports, we can, for now, even if Dangote commences, we may not even be able to meet the local consumption, let alone export. But we still believe that since they said the next one is going to be Kaduna, they are working on that as well. Maybe when all of them come in full string, we'll be talking about supplying to the local market within the West Africa region first.
Emeka, $1.5 billion, if I remember well, was the amount that was budgeted for the repairs and so on. But I don't know if you are aware. I am not. A set date, a target when they're going to say that as from March 1, 2024, or as from January 1, 2024, production, we are going to be rolling out products. Is there any?
Yeah, I think you even got it. I am thinking that the Port Harcourt Refinery will fully come on stream by March.
No, but this didn't come from them.
I'm just, you see.
Are you not bothered that up to this point, there's no specificity as to...
No, they cannot.
Okay.
Don't forget, this refinery has been out of production for some time. So it has affected some of its processes and equipment. So you need to recalibrate this equipment to make sure they can work optimally. And then two, to make sure that the refinery also doesn't catch fire.
But sorry, this makes it look like this whole repair work, this whole maintenance, revamping is going on now. Because I thought that the contract had been awarded.
They've been doing
it. I think where the misconception is coming in is telling us that the Port Harcourt Refinery is ready.
Shouldn't have been the word.
Shouldn't have been the word,
yes.
At this moment. Because if you are talking of production that before you can feel it, you and I can feel it as consumer, local consumer, it's still going to be as from March. February,
April,
March,
yes.
or later April. that means the maintenance process is still on.
Yes.
But what they would have told us is that, okay, we've gotten to so degree.
Correct.
And hopefully that after the new year.
Correct.
And by the first quarter of 2024, Port Harcourt Refinery will come on full stream and the product will be available in our local petrol stations. I think that's what they should have told us. But you know the fire brigade approach of this government, you know, coming to tell Nigerians because they know we easily buy into those gullible statements that they release, like the one that was released on Wednesday. I mean, concerning the Nigerian traveling for the Yuletide, I mean, that has become another crisis. The one that we were told, petroleum subsidy is gone.
It's gone.
And when there was nothing on ground to cushion it. So I think they are good at those fire brigade, releasing statements. And at the end of the day, we are still going to be discussing when is this product from Port Harcourt Refinery going to get to the petrol station. Go and mark it, Siri. We are still going to discuss it here because it's even possible that by March we may not even get it yet. But however, they should have, keep us abreast that the process is almost getting to completion, not just coming to rush into announcing that Port Harcourt Refinery has.
Now, at the risk of asking,
I want to just say something. You see, there's something Nigerians are overlooking. What is our current oil production? Our OPEC quota is between 2.2 million barrels per day, 2.2 and 2.5 million barrels per day. But what we've been able to do right now, according to the National Security Advisor, is 1.7 million barrels per day. Dangote Refinery is expected to take on 650,000 per day, barrels per day, 650,000. If you remove that, you already own Dangote, you already have orders from Dangote. Then you now remove the one for Port Harcourt. You still have your cargoes that have been paid for by foreign traders, that have been paid for since maybe September
that you must supply.
That you must supply. How do you balance it? You're under obligation with a contract. NNPC has 20% of Dangote Refinery. You must supply Dangote that crude, or else you go to court, you go to arbitration. Yeah. And then Nigeria will have to pay Dangote
damages
money for that.
In lieu of,
So we want to avoid that. Then you are now bringing Port Harcourt Refinery on stream. I think we pack too many things together at the same time. If it is Dangote Refinery, why don't we first of all settle down with Dangote? Let Dangote come on stream maybe by March. Then Port Harcourt maybe by May. Then the others, there's Walter Smith in Owerri. It seems that Walter Smith is actually primed mainly for export, or that there are local consumers that have paid ahead. Because oil is not just something you just go in and say, okay, like you want to buy coffee, just give me. No, you have to pay, you have to book down for it. And in announcing that, modular refineries, the one in Imo State will come on stream. What are you talking about? People have paid for this thing, and you are giving Nigerians the impression as if they will just open a supermarket, like a supermarket.
Plug and play.
You just open a supermarket. And then everybody goes and start buying. No. There are procedures in this business. So when you're talking of Port Harcourt Refinery, you are still going to cause another problem.
Yes.
When you say it is ready, people have already primed their money. They started calling their bank managers. They say Port Harcourt Refinery is ready. I will need so quantity of cargo. So please prepare.
Facility, yes.
Prepare, facility for us to go and pay them.
Yes.
And they start paying them.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the announcement you made was a political pronouncement, not a business pronouncement. You are not yet sure. But everybody comes that the pressure is there. And then their managers start going there. Okay, they start paying. You can start paying.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Dangote Refinery, you are not sure. Port Harcourt Refinery, you are not sure. And you are now holding on to people's money. Money they should have put into importing fuel. You are now holding. So, you see, let us remove one problem we have in Nigeria is that we put too much politics into simple business decisions. And it is very wrong. You keep playing politics. Look, we are talking of CNG, right? we've abandoned that one now. We are talking about Port Harcourt Refinery. Let's have a coherent policy. Let people who are business
Speaking
let them run this.
speaking to coherent policy, the argument at the time, even from government, was that these refineries were better sold. Now, you are talking about government having a hand in almost all the pies, which again puts it in many places, which is a panacea for anarchy and confusion. You end up putting politics over and above business. Let me come to you, Elvis. Shouldn't it have been that government just decided, instead of borrowing money, which again we are going to have to pay back $1.5 billion?
No, we'll pay back with oil now.
Good. So why not just sell off these things in the first and let whoever is buying them, then be the one to bear the burden of.
Yeah, before President Obasanjo left office in 2007, he actually sold these refineries, knowing fully well that they were almost obsolete.
They are obsolete.
And one of the buyers then was even Dangote that came up with his own $100.
Blue Star.
But when Yar'Adua came in as the president, he reversed that transaction. One thing about, let me tell you, Siri, we are not playing politics here. We are talking Nigeria. But our northern brothers hate to hear that some of the assets of this nation is going into hands of individuals. The pressure was on Yar'Adua to reverse that transaction, and that is one. Have you looked at the setup of NNPC today? Look at successive GMD of NNPC, or what they call them. They are brothers from there, so they know what this thing means to them. Now, if it goes to the hand of individual, which means these our brothers and our people who have been beneficiaries of this national wealth as it is, are going to start losing their job. That was the pressure that late President Yar'Adua had, and he reversed it. But now, we just made mention of $1.5 billion. Dollars, not in naira, that have been used to. And we've not gotten to the end. By the time we get to the end, we are still going to hear more figures that's going to be announced on top of this Port Harcourt refinery. Nobody is talking of how this payment is going to be made. My brother just said oil will be used to service it. Nobody is talking about where this oil is coming out from. The people that are living there, how are they faring? But what we are after is that just let the ghost that lays the golden egg, even if it's tired or not, nobody is aware. The environment that our people are complaining of, you know what we are talking about. We are from that side of the country. We are complaining of. Nobody is looking into that. But since the GMD is from a place where he can be celebrated and the people around him, things are happening around him, let it be flowing, whether we like it or not. So the payment is an issue because even the quota that OPEC quota that is given, we have not been able to meet it. And only the present budget that for 2024 is on 1.78 barrels per day. That the federal government is saying they are going to be, they are going to meet, and we have not even met the quota for the budget. And Siri, let's not go far because we are discussing Port Harcourt refineries. If the crisis that is building up in Rivers State, if it's not checked,
yes,
it might also be an issue. The crisis of godfatherism that is building up, if it's not checked, you know what I'm talking about. Something else may begin to happen to pipeline. And at the end of the day, we may not even be able to get to half of what we are talking about. So yes, because it has happened before.
Tomorrow the communities will come out and say we've not been consulted, we've not been like what we have take been. We and
yes,
and that opens up another vista of crisis.
Yes. So to answer that question, just briefly.
Yes.
The question you asked.
Yes.
If these refineries were in a state where they could be sold, you would have seen people rushing to buy them.
Yes.
Why did Dangote go and build a new refinery?
Yes. Exactly.
They are obsolete.
Good question.
I remember when Yar'Adua came in, I interviewed Adam Soshomole. And I now asked him, I said, why people are saying that Yar'Adua should not have reversed the sale of the refinery. He said, yes. I was shocked. Former Labour leader, I was shocked. He said they should just have allowed those private guys to take those refineries. That those things are a burden on government. That for the first time, this is a very good decision. They should have allowed those private people to, because they knew that those refineries were not up to scratch. So what would have happened is that the buyers would have just stripped the refineries and sold them maybe to these scavengers, first of all.
As crabs.
As crap. Then now brought in new equipment. Why are some of these oil majors, why are they moving to marginal fields? Why are they not investing in the downstream sector of the economy? Why are they just hanging up in the upstream? Because they know even the business of refineries, running refineries right now is not a very profitable venture. So they would rather just invest in marginal fields, bring out the oil, send it to your bunny, you people, and they get their money.
Speaking of which, I mean, in taking the conversation home now, the president boldly, famously, if I may say, declared in his inaugural speech, subsidy is gone.
But he has woken up.
It's a line that has come to stay. No, I know. I'm driving at something, but he didn't say a word about what we were going to do as a sustainable solution to making fuel available for Nigerians. He didn't say anything about refineries in his inaugural speech. This was May 29. You recall that sometime around, was it August or so, he addressed the nation again. In that speech, and that speech was to ward off the strike threat by the NLC. I don't recall the president saying anything about the refineries again. It was the NLC's reaction to the president's speech, in which they said that the president hasn't even talked about the refineries. Then the presidency said Port Harcourt Refinery was going to come on stream or something like that. It looked like an afterthought to a lot of Nigerians. Now, looking at the trend or the trajectory of the government's, shall I say, commitment or pronouncements on the refineries and on Port Harcourt Refinery, up to this point when they've said flare start has begun, mechanical phase has also been concluded, would you be, without any serious timelines and targets? Because anybody in science would think that 2 years down the line, I mean, Eni was the technical advisor to the project. You would have thought that by now we should have had clear timelines. I mean, to just say something is going to happen by this time. Now, the way we are seeing it, if by next year, after the Christmas break, if by next year we don't see anything, this same government the government before now told us that Dangote Refinery was going to come up from July, we're going to have production. This is December, nothing has come out of it. Would you be surprised if next year came to an end and nothing?
Sorry to cut you. Dangote's problem is simple. No crude.
But something like
crude. No crude for Dangote Refinery to produce. You say you gave them what quantity of crude? Something that will just last them 1 day. So they should stop.
No, but that supply even came much later because as of July.
That is the thing.
As of July, I'm not sure the refinery was even ready.
It was not ready.
It was not ready.
The refinery was
ready. It was even better. It was not ready.
But we also heard at the time, Dangote said they were going to start importing crude.
Exactly.
So, I mean, to kick.
And they moved to block that.
And the NNPC
quickly brought.
But the NNPC has supplied crude to
share lot the NNPC.
I mean,
it's a joint venture
project. So now, but we are still waiting now that crude has landed in the refinery, probably maybe before the end of first quarter. Because everything we are talking about here, I'm not seeing anything that is immediate. Still.
Yes.
Nothing is immediate. We should just be addressing our minds to maybe April, March, April. I mean, for the Dangote, I'm even talking about March. But for this Port Harcourt refinery, I'm not seeing anything coming on.
I'm looking at June.
Thank you, because
you remember
if you have to put the antecedent of this government in place, you will know that what we were told yesterday, the statement that came out yesterday, is just like part of those statements that we have witnessed for these past 6 months. They came into power. So Nigerians should just get themselves abreast that Port Harcourt refinery, they are working on it. Probably between June and July, product may start coming out.
Let's even look at, maybe my last question or last but one question. I grew up in that place where the refinery is situated. And I remember every night you climb the stairs, you go up the house or something. Or from anywhere you are in the community, you will see that line. It never went out. It was a trademark thing growing up. You always saw it. But that thing was burning at a cost. Up to the point that the refinery was, had packed up. It was burning at a cost.
Yeah.
Part of the problem with the refinery was the fact that they kept on bringing people who had no business who didn't have anything to do with science, physics, chemistry, petroleum, to be managers of the refinery. So it was proven. But I'm now just thinking, I mean, you're repairing this for $1.5 billion. We're not even talking about, so one, you pay off the debt, then and then to make it become profitable again. Sustaining the policy to make it become profitable again. How do you see this process working itself out and bringing the refinery itself back into profitability, back into making Nigeria to finally end importation of fuel and ultimately paying of subsidy? Do you see that happening even in 2 years' time?
It may not happen. But the only issue here is that let us remember that NNPC is now a limited liability company.
Owned by the federal government.
Owned by the federal government.
Ministry of Finance.
Wrongly owned by the federal government.
Ministry of...
Wrongly.
So if we want to go by that word now, that is now a limited liability company, that means it's not set up for profit-making venture.
To be decided by the investors.
Investor, yes. So let us believe also that there is going to be a kind of rejig in the management system, especially this one that we are just trying to revive. What happened before may not repeat itself. That's
a prayer, Elvis.
Well, we know we are good at praying. We are good at praying.
That's a prayer.
Because after spending this huge amount of money, and you are still bringing in people who are not, experts in that field to manage it, we'll still go back to where we are coming from. And again, remember, some of those obsolete equipment, it's not everything that is changed now. There are still some of them that because nobody is giving us the true picture. The only thing we heard that is coming on board for production. So if we don't have good managers of the refinery as it is now, we are still going to run back into where we are coming from, and this money will become marginal debt, which...
Sorry, so I mean, I didn't mean to cut you. Come back to your point, Emeka. Who is even asking the questions as to how and why the refinery went down in the first place? Where did we miss it? Who did what, and what can we do to change it? And in fact, if there was any criminal imputation in what made it go down, let us go and deal with whoever was responsible for bringing the refineries down.
Who will go and deal with them? The people involved in the whole game.
You don't seem like you're optimistic that things can get better.
You see, let me tell you the truth. I have said this for many years, and I'll say it again. Nigeria's problem, 90% of Nigeria's problems are man-made. Deliberately contrived. Some people sit down and plan problems for Nigeria ahead. You see, the clear solution to this thing is, as has been said, sell off these refineries. If you will say, okay, call some Chinese investors and tell them, okay, we will give you some licenses, maybe generation like Genco or Disco licenses. Okay, we'll dash you one refinery, we'll add it. Buy one, get one free. We'll add it and give you. That's their business. If they like, let them go and set up China town and be selling lace and other things there. That's their business. Sell off these things. After all, take note that Harcourt Refinery has not been totally shut down all these years. There is the petrochemical side in Dorama that has been running since the administration of Obasanjo. So if they tell you Harcourt Refinery shut down, it's a lie. The only place that shut down was just the aspect that had to do with distillation and refining of crude. Now, petrochemicals, where has it been coming from? Ask them. Where petrochemicals comes from the process of refining crude, right? So where have they been getting their petrochemicals? Have they been importing them? These are the questions, but they think Nigerians are stupid. So something has been going on. It has not been there totally. Maybe the fluid catalytic converter has been down. Maybe some other distillation processes. But to say that refinery has been down totally is a lie. That is one. Secondly, if you want to bring down the price of fuel, and you still expect that you will do that while you are still trucking fuel to different parts of the country, I tell you it's a lie. You are setting up a big lie for Nigerians. Because those trucks use diesel. You are burning money and you say you want to make money. You are burning money while you are making money. You are burning the candle from two ends. It cannot work.
Yes, this is
Who
the
are
problem.
those? The cheapest means of transporting these things is through the pipelines. But who are those vandalizing the pipelines?
And remember,
it's
we
still
have
those in the oil industry. It is still Nigerians like
Security
you and me.
agencies.
Nigerians like you and me. Those who have over 2,000 points from where they siphon crude are the same people who have maybe 1 million or 2 million points for where they siphon refined products.
Yes.
So it is Nigerians actually killing Nigeria. You see, that is why it has become imperative. Sell off NNPC, sell off the refineries, sell off the discos, and not all these federal government 40% and all this. Sell off these things.
Remove your hand.
Well, then, sorry. Now, when Ibe Kachuku was the MD, GMD of NNPC, we had a meeting, some of us senior journalists had a meeting with him. And he said one of the options that one foreign company had suggested that they should exhume all the entire pipeline network and then bury the pipelines afresh, so deep in the earth that it will be impossible for anybody to attempt to vandalize them. He said that proposal was there. But I think maybe those who have made it a business to vandalize the pipeline frustrated it. Because he said there was a company that came with that proposal. So, you see, if we do more of privatizing the oil industry, we will free up state funds for critical sectors.
Yes.
Now, it will become more profitable. If Port Harcourt Refinery, for business purposes, for purposes of real investment, real business, if it is only good for petrochemicals, just like Kaduna Refinery, they should not make the mistake of going to throw money to Kaduna Refinery. If it's good for petrochemical, why not just convert the whole of Port Harcourt Refinery to the production of petrochemicals? And stop deceiving yourself that you bring out PMS, you bring out diesel, you bring out aviation fuel. So that if you now say, okay, Dangote, let's work out a deal with you. Then now look for another investor as big as Dangote that can say, okay, I will go to maybe, either I will stay in Lagos or I will go to the Niger Delta to set up a big, maybe 1 million barrels per day, refinery. Look for somebody like that. So when it's clearly in the hands of the private sector, you will see the business will run more profitably. And then, of course, it's all about economies of scale. With time, you will see that the prices will drop.
So, sorry, just to take this home, because I've been told our time is almost out. The refinery is located in a riverine area where its output, leads to waste, petrochemical waste, going into the canals, goes into the creeks, seafood is destroyed, and the stench, even from miles away, is unbearable. Nobody is talking about the communities and how to also integrate them into the process and help to make sure that what becomes the federal government's own cash cow does not lead to deaths and needless health hazards for the people.
Epidemic.
Yes. What do you think government should do in that regard?
Well, I think the government have already started something in Ogoni where they said reclaiming.
The cleanup.
Yeah, the cleanup of Ogoni land, and but we have not seen much.
Which has sadly run into a crisis.
Yes, I think if this new development that has just come up now must work, the government must talk about the environmental hazards this refinery has caused the people that live in those areas, because their mainstay, their economy mainstay, has practically been taken away from them, which is fishing.
Yes.
And you cannot begin to build one sector and begin to pull another sector down. 70% of the people, 10% of the people that are working in that refinery are not even from that community. 90% of the people that work in that are not even from that. So the other persons that are in that community that need to survive daily must be taken care of. But I'm still hoping to hear that with this new development coming up now, that the federal government will also tell us the environmental impact assessment report they've done concerning this, because if the refinery must be running, effluent will be coming out from the refinery on daily basis. And how are these ones going to be taken care of so that it will not further worsen the situation we're already facing in the Niger Delta?
Oh, well, thank you, gentlemen, for your time on Enterprise Friday this morning. It's been such a robust conversation we've had here. Emeka Madunago,
Thank you very
journalist
much.
and publisher of Metro Star Newspapers. I must also thank you very, very profusely, Elvis Elemihele. I mean, you wear several caps. Sometimes one could be confused finding which one to feature for any particular location. But
Anyone.
let's just say public affairs commentator.
Thank you.
That's how it's been on Enterprise Friday this morning. It's been a joy having you be part of this production. My name is Cyril Abako. I'd like to implore you to visit our social media handles at Enterprise TV 7 on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, and every other social media platform showing on your screen right now. Until we come away again tomorrow, it's bye for now.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.